Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the 212A. It's the Tier 9 Soviet SPG located on the southwest spawn of Glacier. This one is under the command of Oxagon of ENJ0Y. Now, we haven't featured him for a little while, so yes, he's taking his 3 Mark 212 out for a spin. Game on. This is the Arty that would have been made from the KV220 if the KV220 had been anything more than just the 2-vehicle prototype that was actually built before they built the KV3, and he's taken it to a usual firing position, but it's a good firing position because it allows you to get shots on the entrance to the aircraft carrier. There's nearly always some light tank that tries to get up there, but instead he spotted a T10, rounds out, good direct hit, 226, looks like our Progetto tried to get up there, and oh, he's taken a lot of damage, and in fact actually he goes down. Standard reload for this Arty, 37.39 seconds, and well, I think we've managed to get a reload time of just under 30 seconds for Oxagon. 28.35, so yes, he's very much reduced it a great deal. He's probably put all the improvements on. Rounds out, direct hit. Oh, he hit the TVP 250-51 with a blind shot. Now this is the B4 howitzer, the 203mm caliber, capable of 900 alpha, 52mm of pen, so that's a huge amount of pen, and a burst radius of 9.4 meters. Trying to get a shot on these guys. Rounds out, and oh, it hits the ship instead. It's a difficult shot trying to get it over the top because the trajectory of the shell isn't that great. So it actually came in fairly shallow. So even though the aim indicator was saying, yeah, the shell will probably hit the targets, unfortunately it didn't. Okay, let's see what we can do from this angle. Unfortunately, our Foch did not survive that one. Rounds out, this should hit. Right between them. He damaged the E5 and the Wizzy 111 Model 5A. But we've lost sight of the target, so there's nothing much we can do until they get closer to the carrier. Now, one of the good things about the 212A is it's an enclosed Arty, which means you can use vents on it to improve the skills of the crew, even more, reduce the loading time in the process. He's re-aiming. Should be able to loop the shells underneath the carrier and into those 3. Oh, that was good. That not only tracked them, and it actually splashed 3 of them at the same time. The main hit was on the T-54E1, 277 hit points of damage to him. The Wizzy 111 took 141, and I think he also damaged the other tank, the 121B. Unfortunately, we've lost one of our teammates in that corner, the E100. Okay. And a direct hit on the Super Conqueror for 272. It's going after the 111 Model 5A again. We're 3 down on the enemy at the moment. It's at times like this that all you can do is offer moral support to your teammates and the occasional shell to stun the enemy and also effectively remove their chance to do more damage. Oh! Well, that's a kill shot because he splashed the Wizzy 111 Model 5A to death. But there is a T-54E1 behind him. Now, we damaged that guy before. We've got 2 tanks trying to occupy the same space there, and the E5 and the TVP both saw they were going for the same spot and looked at each other, said, well, who's taking priority here? Okay, we're going to go for the E5. Rounds out, should be a hit. It is. 181. hit the hard armor on the front of the vehicle. Another good thing about 212A is, of course, the ammo count. You get 40 rounds of 203mm ammunition with the 212A. With the Object 261, you only get 20 rounds, half that number, and it's got a slightly lower caliber. It's only 18 centimeters, and that's the tier 10. I think they've got the ammunition counts wrong. The 261 should have much more ammunition, and it often runs out in the middle of battles, and then obviously, not in the middle, but towards the end. And then, of course, the player has to just either scout for his team or run to the enemy cap. Trying to get a shot now, but they've disappeared, so he's decided to hold fire temporarily. He can't go after the enemy 268 version 5. I think he was the one who went up the gap towards the carrier, because, of course, he's in between the rock formations. In fact, he is taking damage, the 268 version 5. Our Leopard prototype is plugging shells up his rear. There's the E5. Okay, we can hit him now. Let it settle. Rounds out. Looks good. Direct hit. 310. Okay, there's the TVP. And we stunned him at the same time, so he must have been right next door to the E5 when the E5 got hit. Unfortunately, he's got rid of his stun, and he's just taken out our Char Future 4. Okay, we're almost loaded. Gonna get a shot here. Right about there. Got a direct hit. Nicely done. He waited until TVP had almost stopped. In fact, he had to try and guess the exact place where he might be whilst he was reloading, and he got it bang on. And the TVP does not have very thick armor, which means he probably did feel that hit quite considerably. Got a Char Future 4 over on this corner of the map, the east side of the map, rounds out in the Char. It's a splash kill, and he gets him. That's his second kill of the game. We seem to be holding the enemy back quite nicely on the east side of the map, but Oxagon's decided to put a bit of pressure on the enemy from this direction. Okay, he can drop the shell in there, but he might hit the rock face. Lost sight of them. The T-49 needs to reacquire that T-30. We can't hit the T-54E1 because he's behind the rock, but there is a 121B around there in that vicinity. And in fact, now the enemy Char Future 4 is actually threatening our T-49. In fact, he's managed to get a couple of hits already. Rounds out. Oh, got a bit of a splash there. 179 might give the T-49 a chance. He's stunned. Oh, he takes a dirt round. That's a big hit. We got stun assist for 1100 from the dirt round from the T-49. Unfortunately, I think the T-49, yeah, the enemy Arty got him in the end. Okay, so we might get a chance to get this Char Future if he pops up. But he's being Arty safe at the moment. I think he knows he's so low on hit points now that it wouldn't take much for us to get a shell that will wipe him out by splashing him to death. Going back to the T-30. You can see we've got a bit of a red line there. That means that the shell's flight is obstructed by that rock. If we did fire at the moment, we'd hit the rock face for sure. Don't worry about the rescue drift. That's a problem that Wargaming has never fixed. And I think it's designed to actually show whoever the player is that there are tanks elsewhere that he can fire at. It's funny because that direction indicator was banned by Wargaming many years ago. There used to be a mod that you could get which would tell you which direction to look to find the next available enemy tank. And Wargaming made it illegal because, of course, it was giving you a hint where you had to go next. And now we get this reticule drift. You can see it's drifting in the direction of where the E5, or rather the T-54E1 was going. fact, there are no enemy tanks in sight at all at the moment. So we've gone back to the center. That's where the TVP T50-51 was last seen, and the E5. And we've gone entirely defensive because now we lost the T49. We've got nobody on the east side of the map, and we're only repelling any enemies that come in. We've got 2 guerrillas to the north. Oh, and there's the 268 version 5, and he just took a pot shot at someone. See if we can get around onto him. Rounds out. This could be a splash kill. It is. Nicely done. He didn't need to get a direct hit. He only needed to land the shell near the target to kill him, just as that Charfuture 4 over on the east side. He's a one shot as well that way. Okay, 2 enemy tanks have been spotted coming in, and one of them is an E5, so that must be the one that was in the center of the map. Badly wounded. Okay, we should be able to loop a shell into that corner. Rounds out. No tank was killed, but they might have been splashed. As I said, the blast radius is quite big, so the chances are that one of them was close to the corner when that shell came in. 10.4 meters is the blast radius. I've noticed a lot of players are now using the blast radius indicator, which actually is a little bubble that appears on the aim point, a little dome, or not a dome, it's a little hemisphere that appears on the ground, which shows exactly where the blast radius extends outwards, and it's quite useful for if you are intending to try and splash somebody. The reason I don't put this in the videos is we try to make them as virgin as we can. We do put in a few indicators. You can see the amount of time. We can see the aim counter, the time counter on the reload. That's something we do include because people like to see how long we've got left until the reload goes in. But we also try to make it as clean as possible now, because we noticed that a lot of players were saying, oh, it's too cluttered a screen. And a lot of other video makers, they try to make the screen as easy to watch as possible. Okay, Arty just fired. I suspect that Arty was trying to get a shot on us because we actually had an impact nearby. It was just behind us. So I think he was guessing where we are, because it wasn't directly on target. Okay. Oh, splash kill on the TVP. He landed the shell right next door to the TVP, and he's out the game. Oh, now we did get spotted there momentarily by the enemy. But we are changing position, trying to avoid knocking any trees down. The enemy RT is trying to get us. But you see Oxagon's moving forward, which is faster than going backwards. And by moving forwards, he's avoiding the area where the enemy RT was aiming. The shell landed a little way behind us. Okay, he's now got a shot over into the corner. The STB-1 is facing the T-30. He hasn't got a direct hit on the... or direct shot on the T-30, but if he comes back down that little area there, he also gets spotted by the Leopard prototype or the Gorilla 15. In the meantime, our Gorilla 15 is going into the enemy rear, and well, the good news is he's just killed the M53, M55 of the enemy team, so we don't have to worry about counter batteries anymore. But we just lost our Leopard prototype, and the Charfuture 4 goes down to the STB-1. That means the STB-1... Oh! And the STB-1 just killed the T-30, which means now there's only 2 enemy tanks remaining. The T-110E5 and the T-54E1. And there's less than a minute to go. So this one is going right down to the wire. 4 kills to Oxagon so far. We know that they were last seen in this area of the map, but we don't know precisely, so he's not going to fire unless he's fairly certain he's going to stun them or damage them. And he's found one. E5, lined up, rounds out. Well, it splashed in for 79. He moved forward just at the right moment, but the STB-1 goes in. He takes a hit from the E5's gun. Or was that from the other Arty, the other tank, the 54? Clock's running out. And that's it. Game over. It's a draw. Here's the end of battle results, and that was an ace tanker game for Oxagon in the 212A. He managed to get a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He got 4 exactly. He got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 14. And he got a Gauze medal as well for doing more damage, exceeding 8 times the hit points of his own vehicle, as well as a win 8 of 5,683, which is super unicum and quite a bit more. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, he didn't get the highest damage in the game, no. Unfortunately, that went to the Wizzy 111 Model 5A, who got 4,239 hit points of damage. In fact, I believe the 5A was, yes, it was one of his kills in the game. Yes, he did kill that player. The second highest damage in the game actually went to the STB-1, got 4,194 hit points. And in third place, we've got Oxagon with 4,175, so just a little way behind. And of course, he got the Gauze medal. When it came to kills, again, it's shared between the STB-1 and Oxagon. Both of them got 4 kills apiece. 2 kills went to the Gorilla 15s on his team, and also to the Wizzy 111 Model 5A and T54E1 on the enemy team, and their M53, M55, and their TVP T5051. When it came to base XP, he's top. 804 out of that one. 619 went to the Chieftain P, and 611 went to the T54E1 on the enemy team. The Leopard prototype managed to get a Confederate in that game. He fired 19 rounds of ammunition, so still had 11 rounds spare at the end of the game. He got 8 direct hits on the enemy and 1 penetrating shot as well. Not sure which one he actually penetrated in this game. Might have been the TVP. Yes, it was. Look at that. 1,461 hit points of damage and 1 penetration, and it took the guy out. I think that was the first shot that he fired. Probably one of the blind shots, actually, he fired on the TVP that gained most of the damage on that vehicle because he splash killed him later on during the game. He also got 24 splashes in the game, so he got more splashes than he got hits, but that's because the enemy tanks were bunching together, and when they do that, gives you more damage on more different tanks, which puts you closer to getting a Confederate medal. 4,175 hit points of damage, all of it at more than 300 meters, damaged 11 of the enemy, killed 4, did 4,175 hit points of stun assist off 21 stuns. On a premium count, he actually earned 18,608 credits from the game. If he'd actually been on a free-to-play account, he would have made a loss. But he also got 1,912 XP as well. He gets the Courageous Resistance Award in both cases because he managed to get an epic medal in a losing or a drawn game. This was a draw. So a great game for Oxagon. Huge amount of damage, lots of kills, but sadly, I'm afraid his team weren't able to complete the game because there was 2 enemy players who were very, very good indeed. The T110E5 player and that T54E1. And they managed to evade us and stay alive. I hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.